everyone, you're welcome to Otis Culture. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing us on how to draft a protruding back bodice of a skirt. This method that I'm about to show us, you can use it for a gown as well that will have a zipper at the back. You can also use it for any style of skirt of your choice, be it A-line shaped skirt, 6-piece skirt, or skirt with tail, pencil skirts, any skirt of your choice. You can use the same method I'm about to show us for it. Before we continue, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please hit the red button down below to subscribe to my channel, and also click on the notification bell beside the red button so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Without further ado, let's move right to the tutorial. I'll be using pencil skirt tutorial to teach us on how to make the buttocks at the back bodice of your skirt to protrude properly. I want my band height to be 1.5 inches, so I'm going to place my tape to be 1.5 inches above the base line, just like this. So I'm starting from 1.5 inches. My waist to hip is 8 inches. I'll move forward a little and also measure 8 inches. Then I'll draw a straight line. This is my baseline and it's also my waist measurement. I'm going to insert my waist measurement at the baseline. My waist measurement is 43. 43 divided by 4 will give me 10 3/4. At the waistline, I'm going to insert 10 3/4 inches. This is 10 3/4 inches. Then 1 inch for my waist dart. My hip measurement is 51. 51 divided by 4 will give me 12 3/4. Pay close attention to this part. This is the front bodice of my skirt. To make the butt to protrude at the back, the idea is that I'm going to minus 3/4 of an inch from my hip measurement for the front bodice. My hip measurement is 51. 51 divided by 4 is 12 3/4. I am drafting the front bodice first. I'm not going to insert 12 3/4 on my front bodice. I'm going to deduct 3/4 of an inch away from my measurement, which will now give me 12 inches. Whatever your hip measurement is, after dividing it by 4, deduct 3/4 of an inch from it. So at the hip line, instead of me to insert 12 3/4, I'm going to insert 12 inches. Just pay close attention to what I'm doing. You will understand it properly when I'm drafting the back bodice. So at the hip line, I'm going to insert 12 inches for the front bodice. Then with my hip curve, I will connect from the waist to the hip. I'll be making use of total inches of this pattern paper, which is 25 inches. I'm going to measure what I have on my hip measurement, which is 12 inches. I'm going to deduct 2 inches from it, which will now give me 10 inches. I'll come to the hem of my skirt. I'll insert 10 inches. The reason that I remove 2 inches from my hip measurement is to give me the pencil shape. With a straight ruler, I'm going to connect from the hip to the down part of the skirt. Next is to insert my waist dart. I'm going to measure 4.5 inches. The 4.5 inches is derived from my bust span. My bust span is 9 inches divided by 2 will give me 4.5 inches. So I'll measure down 4.5 inches for the height of my darts. I'll draw a straight line. I'll measure half an inch on both sides. Half an inch. I'll connect the darts together. Measure down 3/4 of an inch. From the baseline, then with a curve, I'm going to connect it like this to the waist. Next is to cut it out. I'm only cutting out from the side only. I'm not cutting out this yet because I'll be needing this for the back bodice. I will use this front bodice to cut the back bodice. That is where the magic will begin. You will place the front bodice to another pattern paper to cut the back bodice. Then you will want to pin it down so that it won't be moving around. You pin it down. you pin it down at the side as well, just to give it stability. Good. First thing you will need to do is to extend this hip line. This is the hip line. Is to extend this hip line to this side. Remember, at the front bodice, my hip is 51 divided by 4 is 12 3/4. I inserted 12 inches at the front bodice, so the remaining 3/4 I will come over to the hip line. I'll measure from this side. I'll measure 3/4 of an inch. The 3/4 of an inch that we're supposed to add to the front, what I'm doing now is to add it to the back. Then the next thing to do after inserting the 3/4 of an inch is to connect from the waist line, from the original waistline. That is why I've not cut out this 3/4 of an inch that I came down with for the front bodice, so that I'll be able to connect from the original waistline. So I'm going to connect from the original waistline to the hip with a straight ruler. I want us to get it very well. That's why I want to use my mannequin to demonstrate to us on something very important. As you can see, the human back is not flat. It's not straight. It tends to have, from the waist, it tends to have curve because of the butt that we have at the back. Now, the point I want to show us is that wherever part you keep your waistband, what you would do is to ask someone to help you put your tape measure at wherever you place your waistband on your waist till under your butt. In this case, I have 15 inches. Even mine, after measuring mine, it's also 15 inches. Yours might not be 15 inches, so you will have to ask someone to help you to measure it so that you will get accurate measurements from your waist to where you place, from your waist at where you placed your waistband to under your butt. Remember that when we were drafting the front bodies, we started from 1.5 inches. We remove our waistband measurements. So I'm going to place my tape measure from the same 1.5 inches and I'll measure down 15 inches. This is where my 15 inches stop. I'll give it a mark. Now, watch closely. I'm going to draw a curve that is going to start from this 3/4 of an inch to join the 15 inches. You can make use of your hip curve as well. then you blend it, up. After doing that, now this is when then you blend it at this side. You will blend it to join with this. The next thing to do is to measure your zipper allowance. You will start from the waist to measure the zipper allowance. If it's 1 inch you want to use, or 1.5 inches you want to use, whatever inches you want to use, you will start from the waist. You will follow this line to measure your zipper allowance. Before I measure my zipper allowance, I want a closed vent for the slit. So I'm going to measure the height of my slit. I'll measure about 7.5 inches to be the height of my slit. I'm using a closed vent for the slit. This is where my zipper allowance will stop. So at the waist, I'll measure zipper allowance of 1 inch. 1 inch. I'll follow the curve. 1 inch. 1 inch. I'll stop at where I want my slit to stop. Then I'll connect the dots together. Good. Then for my vent, I want it to be 2 inches. I'll come to this side, I'll measure 2 inches. I'll draw a straight line to meet the 2 inches. Then I'll connect it straight. The side remains the same. When cutting on your fabric, you will add seam allowance at the side. You will add your hemming allowance, and you will also add 1/2 inch allowance at the waist side to join with the band. You are cutting exactly the same thing at the side. Before I remove the front bodice, I'm going to notch where my dart line is. You will notch where your dart line is. Then you can remove the pins. I'm transferring the line for my back dart. I'm going to measure 5 inches for the height of my back dart. I'll connect with a straight line. Then I'll join the darts together. Next is to cut out excess from the back bodice. I'm following the shape. Our back bodice is ready. I'll have to cut this shape out for the front bodice. You want your slit to be an open slit. It's still the same method. First of all, you will determine where you want your slit to start. It might be long skirt or short skirt, whatever length you want your skirt to be. You will just determine where you want your slit to stop. Then you will mark it. For example, if this is where I want my slit to stop, after placing the front bodice to another paper to cut the back bodice, you will do the same thing. At the hip line, you will measure 3/4 of an inch. It's still exactly the same thing. You measure 3/4 of an inch. You will connect from the original waistline to the hip line. Then you will measure down 15 inches. You will take away your band height and measure 15 inches or whatever your measurement is after measuring from your back waist to under your butt. You will curve it to meet the 15 inches. Just like so. Then this is where you want your slit to be. Then from the waist, you will now measure your zipper allowance of 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Just measure it like this. This is if you want an open slit. Measure the zipper allowance of 1 inch. You measure it down. Then you will connect the dots. Then you will connect the dots together. You will measure the length of your zip along the zipper seam allowance. In most cases for skirts is usually between 7 to 7.5. Then you will sew it down and stop at wherever you want your slits to begin. So this is for open slits. If you don't want the covered one, this is for open slit. It's still the same method. So the difference is just that this is an open slit, then the other one that I showed us previously is a covered slit. As you can see, the back bodice of this skirt has formed the shape of a human. So I hope you've learned one or two things from my video. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. If you want to see me using this tutorial to sew on the fabric, please let me know in the comment section. We've come to an end of today's tutorial. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up, share my video, and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. Join other like-minded fashion designers on our Facebook group, Seamstress Zone. Follow me on Instagram at Otis Culture. Until I come your way next, please stay safe and keep winning. Bye.